Welcome to my story. It begins in a quaint, picturesque town that time forgot, a place where vintage isn't a lifestyle trend but a deeply rooted identity. It's a town preserved in the amber of tradition and politeness, a place where everyone knew each other, or thought they did. It's here that I met the man I loved. Edward. Dignified, gracious, the embodiment of small-town perfection. To the world, he was flawless. To me, he was a contradiction, a complicated man I loved despite knowing he harbored shadows no one else saw. When Edward disappeared, no one expected him to turn up the way he did, dead, decomposing on our front step, the sun having dried his skin, the rain having stripped it, and the earth having buried parts of him prematurely. I wept. But I also exhaled, for reasons most wouldn't understand. There are 3 reasons I'm telling you this story. I need to share what I know. My conscience can no longer carry the weight alone. Edward would never want to be remembered this way, but truth deserves the final word. I need your perspective. Your advice. Because I don't think this is over. Our town never moved past the early 1900s, by design, not oversight. Technology was frowned upon. Even owning this phone is an act of quiet rebellion. Still, it's the fastest way to get my truth out. Edward seemed born for this place. I remember when he courted me. I was 17, smitten by his old-fashioned charm, his deep laugh lines, that knowing, practiced smile. Women adored him. Some men, too. But a few had seen that smile in nightmares. He never confessed. Not directly. But he also never hid what he was. My husband was a serial killer. They called him the Whistling Walker. His victims described the same eerie whistle stalking them late at night, behind closed doors or across moonlit roads. Few lived to tell the tale. Those who did all mentioned the same thing. I know this because Edward kept journals. Unfiltered, grotesque insights into his fractured psyche. He questioned his own capacity for love, dissected the anatomy of empathy, and searched for meaning in the void inside him. One entry burned itself into my mind. She's breathtaking. There's reason to believe she'll be different. She might make me feel something real. That she was me. Later entries were darker. Tormented. He wrote about the being within him, something ancient, parasitic, that demanded blood, seduced with promises of peace. He fought it when he was with me. But when he was away, it fed. Strangest of all was how everyone believed him, even when he lied blatantly. He could say he was at an event I knew he missed, and somehow the entire town would remember him there. It never worked on me. I assumed that's why he loved me, because I was immune to the illusion. When Edward died, I thought it ended. But the murders continued. Same whistle. Same signature. I buried him. I watched the casket lower. And still, the whispers of his evil persisted. Marilyn, an old friend, approached me after Sunday service. The tension in the church that day was palpable. Everyone was waiting for something, some shriek, some sign. Nothing came. But she still offered me a place to stay, worried for my safety. Her concern was real. I could see it in her eyes. Our conversation wandered, until we spoke of her daughter Alexandria, young, beautiful, recently engaged. A few things stood out. Alexandria was eager. Rushing her wedding. Pregnant, barely showing. I had my suspicions. But the real shock came when I visited her. She answered the door with calm that unnerved me. No hesitation. No fear. Just clarity. We sat. She poured tea. And then, as if she had rehearsed it, she asked, "Are you going to ask me about your husband?" She told me everything. She and Edward had secret rendezvous. He would take her out of town, rare and risky for someone like him. They'd slip into the world outside, far from our antiquated little corner. She described their last night together, how different it was. He'd made plans to stay the night in the city. They shared a bed. She felt like something changed. Like he was ready to love her, in a way he never had before. Then came the sound. The whistle. It started faintly, like a distant train. Then grew, high-pitched and relentless. She found him kneeling in the kitchen, eyes to the ceiling, lips pursed in an unbroken scream, his body trembling violently. He wasn't breathing, just whistling, endlessly, painfully. His face contorted, his veins bulged, and still the sound poured out. She tried to stop him. She failed. He turned to her, slowly, with lifeless eyes and slackened jaw. He crawled toward her, grotesque and unnatural, his form unraveling as his whistle warped into a chant. I will never die. I will never die. That was the last time she saw him alive. Soon after, he was found on my doorstep. Alexandria survived. And now I know why. She wasn't who Edward thought she was. He'd misunderstood her entirely. She had strength. Certainty. And when she realized what lived inside him, she didn't run forever. She ended it. Or so we thought. The whistle hasn't stopped. It visits our town in the night. Murders continue. I don't know if what Edward carried has found a new host, or if he ever truly died. But I do know one thing, I was never his final victim. And perhaps, I never really knew who or what my husband was.